long we can avoid having him join us this evening. We can keep this thing according to plan. We can make it work if everybody participates correctly. So actually, I don't think he's going to make it. He's going to be stuck on a plane. So with that, Mr. Panos, if you'll lead us in the pledge. Okay, item 1A is presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the council. And for those who probably, well, most already know, the council is prohibited from discussing issues that are not on the agenda brought to them at this time. So with that, item 1A, Mr. Basharian is the first speaker.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, I come to apologize to the council. I'm sorry that the mayor is not here to hear this, but apparently I was underinformed or mistaken, if you will, and wrote a letter to the editor not knowing that there had been plans for the butternut/walnut tree that is to be taken down for new construction over at, what is that called over at the east end? Pardon me, the bridges?
Bridge District?
I had not heard anything except that a slab would be taken from the tree and given to the city so that we could count the tree rings, and had no idea that you folks actually knew what that piece of wood is worth. That tree is not only our history, but a rare and hard to find. If you were into woodworking at all, you would know what I'm talking about. So I went off misinformed and didn't find out until I read today's copy of one of our local papers. And I came to apologize right away. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Mr. Joe Gaden.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council, I'm here tonight in my role as the president of the West Sacramento Foundation to announce to the council and the community the foundation's newest endeavor to assist local nonprofit organizations in town. You've all known the foundation is the sponsor of the 444 golf tournament annually, and we take the funds from that and make grant awards to local 501c3 organizations. I know two of you know that real well because you're on the board, but since 1988, when we were incorporated, the foundation has provided over $250,000 to local nonprofits. This year, a new idea was brought to us of a community-wide raffle, and it was presented to the board by Catherine Van Dies, who's here with us tonight in the back. If you'd raise your hand, Catherine. She's also the event coordinator for this raffle, which will teach her to bring a good idea forward. No good deed goes unpunished. Mm-hmm. Our goal for this inaugural raffle was to sell 5,000 tickets, have them sold by participating nonprofits. Nonprofits get tickets from us, they sell them, and they keep 9 out of the $10 on the tickets. Any surplus in our $1 will go into our annual grants award programs. We've already dispersed 3,000 tickets to local nonprofits, and it's hardly hit the street so far. If we meet our goal, close to $50,000 will be in the hands of local groups serving the residents of West Sacramento. Any charity wishing to participate in this in West Sacramento is encouraged to contact our group, go on our website, or call Charlie Moore. Examples of prizes that can be won is a trip to New York, including a Broadway play provided by Van Diest and Ingstrom Properties, a flat screen TV from Walmart, a Las Vegas trip provided by the Ramos Oil and First Northern Bank, a Rivercat Skybox by the Rivercats, Lake Amador Cabin Vacation by Morrow Surveying, and a $500 shopping spree at IKEA. There are many other prizes that have been provided, ranging from a $500 gas card from Ramos Oil to a dinner at Mike and Sue McGowan's house. As this event evolved, one striking side benefit resulted. A local artist, John Kloss, provided a sketch that we used on our tickets. And that sketch turned out to receive a tremendous amount of feedback. People really liked it. It's a sketch that's the waterfront in West Sacramento. It's the first sketch that we're aware of that waterfront. And to the best of our knowledge, it is the very first one. Since you as the city council of this city made this sketch possible, the board decided to present each of you with a copy. I'd like to invite Charlie Moore and Catherine to come up with me now to make this presentation to the council. If you'd come down, we'd like to give you guys a picture. Or do you want me to just hand it to you, Mr. Mayor?
You know, if you want to set it, you mean to display, yeah, I think he set it on the table.
We want to give that to the.
Oh, you want to actually give it to us? You want to show it, you want to show it to folks at home first, or?
Can we do that?
That's beautiful.
I did.
But this is hand-done renditions by the artists for each.
Very cool.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Well, that's the mayor's copy, and we'll leave that.
If you want to leave it on the table, folks at home can see
Yeah,
it, actually.
leave
There's an opportunity for
Leave it on the table.
displaying if you'd like.
And just in closing, I'd like to let the council know that Mr. Christoph and Mr. Villegas are members of our board and have been provided with the first 50 tickets that were printed in case anybody wishes to buy any tickets. So thank you very much for allowing us to make this presentation. And I think the picture, I think you'll all agree, is really a nice drawing sketch for our waterfront. It turned out so nice that we just wanted to share it with people. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Former City Manager Joe Gaten. I know your involvement in this has been very helpful because of your knowledge of the interest in West Sacramento supporting nonprofits in the past. I know that there's been a tremendous amount of support for this organization. As you said, there's been nearly $250,000 raised and provided to nonprofits. And I know Bill Christoph was at the table, I think at the Pheasant Club, nearly 25 years ago when it got started. If you wanted to share a little history there.
Yeah, it was. Bob Garcia, Clark Cameron. Clark was really very instrumental in sort of guiding this along. Rodney Perini, myself. Well, anyway, Clark had made the suggestion that since we were going to become a city, and he was a supervisor at the time, he said, since you're going to become a city and there's going to be a money crunch, community-based organizations are going to need some kind of a mechanism in which they can raise money, or you as a foundation can give monies to local-based community organizations, nonprofits. And so it's something that we did. And our first endeavor really was a golf tournament. And over the years, we've raised, as Joe has indicated, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000. And all of the money that is raised goes towards locally based, community-based organizations. And for some of them, it's very, very important. I mean, it's sort of it's not a lot, but it is sort of a lifeline. And it's very appreciated throughout the community when the time comes to give out the funding grants and those sort of things. And I was looking back, and even this year, it's really interesting to see how the community has come together, because this is really a good idea, because we've all just gone through budget hearings and all the things, and there are some things that we used to do as a city that we could help some locally based, community-based organizations. And now, and as our budget deteriorated, this is going to hopefully take its place. The foundation is doing exactly what a foundation should do. They're making monies, and they are in turn reinvesting those dollars within the community itself. And this is really a pretty good thing. And so I told Mr. Moore that he wanted to give me some tickets I could pass out to the council. And so I gave Mark 10. I'll give everybody else 10 if they want them. And they can sell them, and those will be dollars that are going to be generated so that the foundation can in turn give grant monies or anything else. One of the interesting things about this is, and that is, Little League or whatever community-based organization it is. They have to be a 501(c)(3). But at the same time, this is a fundraising opportunity for them and an opportunity to have really sort of a lot of fun because there's some really, really nice prizes. And if somebody wins one of those prizes, it'll be, I think, very, very appreciative. For every, I think Joe had indicated, for every $10 ticket that is sold, that community-based organization will be able to keep $9 of that. So if they sell 1,000 tickets, that's just about 900 grand. I mean, 900 grand. 9,000, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of money.
It's really a lot of money to community-based organizations. So anyway, I'm glad to see that this is off to the kind of start that it is, and it's, I think, going to be very, very well received. And we've got, you know, as I indicated, some of the prizes, and, you know, Council Member Beers has donated, you know, Week in Mexico, and, you know, really some prizes that are worth putting in for.
Councilmember Beers.
Yeah, I did want to offer, if it's not too late to add to your list of prizes, a week at our condo in Puerto Vallarta to this, and applaud your efforts. These are the times when communities do need to step forward with charitable contributions. So this is a really good opportunity to do that, and it's nice for you to finally let the non-golfers have a way of getting involved in this. So anyway, good luck to you, and thanks for your efforts. And I am going to get some tickets from Bill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Beers. Mr. Johansson, do you have anything? No? Well, thank you very much for coming out this evening, and I know that folks that are listening this evening hopefully have had some interest either in you know, having their organization join in and sell tickets or buying tickets themselves. I think they can call Charlie Moore. Charlie, that's the best way to get a hold of you is the 417 number. So that's Charlie Moore at 417-5623, I think is the right one. Or you can Google the West Sacramento Foundation, and plenty of information on there. And again, this is a great opportunity for nonprofits. You know, typically you sell a box of candies, and the monies that you raise selling those candies, you're going to get 10, 15% to go back to your organization. In this instance, you're going to get 90% of the money that you raise for selling tickets to a wonderful cause and wonderful prizes. And I think you know, the Puerto Vallarta trip, and I think Bill Christoph's even talking about donating a ride in his new Jeep that he picked up over the weekend as well as part of one of the prizes.
Plus
so,
an In-N-Out burger. Right?
In-N-Out burger trip, yeah, perfect. An In-N-Out burger trip. Well, thank you again for coming this evening. Appreciate it, and hopefully some of the nonprofits that are not on board will get on board. The 3,000 tickets. I know that. And I also wanted to let you know the soccer club in West Sacramento, that there's about 900 kids that are registered. It's going to be presented to them as well. I did talk to them, Charlie, and they're considering it, hopefully. So, thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Council communications. Any council reports? Mr. Johansson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. The City County 2x2 met on July 28th, and there was a continued discussion, although no resolution, of shared services between the cities and the county. Basically, what's happening is they're looking at different areas where possible collaboration or cooperation can occur between the two in an effort to maybe save some costs and maybe more effectively providing the services. And probably the biggest issue was the update on the Delta Heritage area. You've received in your council packages a letter that was sent by the city and by the port, basically in response to the second draft of the interim plan. And the problem is the classification of the primary and secondary zones has been mentioned here in the past, and the lack of clarity in this draft of whether or not West Sacramento sits in that. I don't know if city manager has any further updates or clarifications of that as well.
Just one thing that's related. The Delta Commission actually is embarked on an evaluation of the secondary zone to see what portions of that might be appropriately included in the primary zone. They haven't, because of budgetary and time constraints, looked at the opposite question of what part of the secondary zone maybe ought to not be in the Delta. And so we will be sending a letter to the Delta Commission tomorrow, basically at the request of Supervisor McGowan, so that he can advocate in our interest of perhaps getting out of the Delta designation.
And that's it, thanks.
Okay. Anything, Mr. Spears? Nope. Mr. Kristoff?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Item 1C is council appointments and reappointments. So I don't think we have any of those this evening. Moving on to the consent agenda, items 2 through 5. Any questions or comments regarding any of the consent items? Number 2, any others? Nope. All right. So with that, item number 2 is consideration of Treasurer's financial report on the city's investment portfolio. Ms. Hayden, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I don't need a presentation, but, you know, clearly I always have considered this not a discretionary document, and I'm glad that we always put it together, and it's a good report and everything. The one thing, and before I even say that, we've always been blessed in the city with great finance directors and treasurer. But I was reading through the investment policy, and I just wanted to raise a question on the delegation of authority, because it's delegated to the director of finance, which is a direct delegation, not through the city manager. And we've been pretty clear as a council and tried to be consistent that those decisions, you know, because the city manager is only, you know, one of 2 direct reports, that we probably, I think, should amend this, not necessarily tonight, but at an appropriate time, look at amending this anyway, to make that connection. Because if you fall from that delegation, then it goes to an investment officer. I assume it's the same person, I don't know, but there's a lot of checks and balances that we've entrusted to potentially a 3rd level within the city. And I think just as a prudent oversight, we should revisit that policy, make sure that we're comfortable that that's the way it is. Everything's been working fine. This isn't a question of that. It's just looking at the policy, those concerns came to my attention.
Yep. Great. Thank you, Mr. Spears. Any other comments, questions?
Move the agenda.
All right. So we have a motion to move the consent agenda with a second. All those in favor? All right, so motion on the table. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously with 1 abstention. Thank you very much. Item 6, time set agenda, community development services. This is item 6 is consideration of continuance of public hearing and first reading of ordinance 10-13 adopting and adding to the city building code green building standards and sustainable strategies as outlined in PC resolution 10-6. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. We are asking for a continuance on this item, but I just wanted to provide one brief communication about the potential process and schedule for this item that we just learned about. Should the council choose to pursue Cal Green as the base ordinance, there is an additional step that would require California Energy Commission approval. And so this is not normal. Basically, the first reading we have scheduled that will be continued to August 18th. And then after that, we have a calendar hold on the August 25th California Energy Commission agenda for them to consider after the first reading. If they approve our findings and ordinance, then it can come back to the council for second reading and public hearing. Now, this is dictated by Cal Green and by the state of California, this process. So it's pushing the public hearing to the second reading, and it's introducing a new step in between, which is the California Energy Commission. In any event, if there are changes at the first reading, August 18th, it could mean that we will have to push the California Energy Commission to their December meeting. So we can put this in more of an outline format in a memo to put in your next packet, and then we can also go over it again at the August 18th. That's all I have.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's pretty, I mean, the roadmap's pretty well laid out in terms of what are, now, this is assuming that we pursue the Cal Green. Is that not part of the original idea, or is that something new? I mean, I know the steps are new that we just learned about, but in terms of pursuing, because I think you said it was predicated on pursuing the Cal Green.
That is going to be staff's recommendation, but
All right,
the
so that's-
alternative of the draft green building ordinance as staff originally prepared is still going to also be presented as well.
So in essence, what really happens is Cal Green really wants to see what we have recommended in our first reading, and if they want to make some changes, then we got to go back through the whole process again?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, so if we didn't, if we didn't adopt exactly theirs, if we had some additions, would that change the?
We would have-
So that's not exactly their ordinance, but substantially, but with any changes, would that change the status of it in the eyes of that rule?
If we make changes to
Before.
what we send to them, oh, no, before.
So that it, you see what I'm trying to say is if this is, we're just adopting their rules, then that process exists. If we are adopting their rules plus we have some local tinges so that it actually becomes a West Sacramento.
Actually, the latter is what we're proposing, and we're adopting
It
theirs by reference and then adding some components that are not mandatory in theirs, but advisory as mandatory in ours.
Okay.
So we are still adopting a component of theirs, and that would have to go to the Energy Commission. If we adopted a completely separate
Okay,
ordinance, then it wouldn't.
I understand that. Okay, thank you.
I think the only thing that might, if you decide on the 18th what's been presented to you, you want to amend, the CEC meeting on the 25th will get delayed. Probably till December, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, their next meeting isn't until December.
Okay, well, sounds like, I mean, is what it is at this point. Mr. Johansson, I'm sorry.
Charlene, just quickly, so this is basically a branding issue, isn't it? Cal Green, in order to have maybe a Cal Green certification, what the state is requiring is this ordinance to be compliant with that branding. And if it deviates from that, then they just won't get the certification. But we have the option to go above and beyond that, or however we're going to do that, but at least to get the baseline. That's really what they're looking for at this first go-around, isn't it?
It's, the requirement for it to go to them comes out of referencing, adopting the code by reference. So it could even not be Cal Green. Cal Green is just, that's what dictates we go to the California Energy Commission.
Right.
If it was some other code, we might have to go to a different commission. But yeah, we can go above and beyond their minimum requirements.
Okay.
So no other questions, so the staff request is that we continue this item to the 18th, right? That's what you said, yep, 18th. So motion to continue?
Move continuance.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. With none opposed and one abstention, thank you very much. So item is moved to August 18th. All right, is that it, City Manager?
It is.
Okay. Item 7A is council calendar.
We don't have any changes to the calendar this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. City Manager report.
Nothing to offer this evening.
Nope. Mr. City Attorney? Nothing. Staff direction from council members? Nothing. All right, keep it simple. Future agenda item request from the council. We seeing nothing on the agenda, so motion to adjourn. Second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.